Here's how to pick your insurance aggregator or your insurance cluster if you're starting an insurance agency. My name is Bradley Flowers. I'm the founder of Portal Insurance and the co-host of the Insurance Guys podcast. I'm doing this video to help. I have no intentions or no ulterior motives or anything like that. So with the current marketplace that we're in right now, 2023, almost no carriers are doing new appointments. When I started Portal in 2019, we started with no aggregators, no clusters. And the idea was we wanted to go direct with all our carriers, direct appointments, and fall back on the aggregators if we had to. We pulled it off. I don't know that I would do it that way if I was starting in 2023, and I don't know if any of you who are starting would be able to do that either, right? So you're probably going to have to go the cluster aggregator route, right? So here's how you choose your cluster aggregator. This is all my opinion, right? So there's three categories of clusters and aggregators. You have franchises, you have traditional clusters and aggregators, and you have market access companies, okay? So from the top, we're gonna have the most restrictive to the least restrictive, but we're gonna have the least help to the most help, okay? So if you go the franchise route, a good example of a franchise is gonna be Goosehead, okay? So Goosehead is the closest thing to captive as it relates to an independent insurance agency as there can be, right? And I don't mean that negatively towards Goosehead, okay? So there's going to be a lot of restrictions on the branding, but the flip side, there's going to be a lot of help, okay? It's an agency in a box. Yeah, there's some things you have to do when you start, but when you start, a lot of decisions are going to be made for you, okay? Some people, when they go independent, they don't want to make a lot of decisions, right? Some people, when they go independent, they want to make a lot of decisions, right? That was me. When I started, I wanted to make the decision on the phone system. I wanted to make the decision on the CRM. I wanted to make the decision on the type of font we use in our logo and that sort of thing, right? That's just me. Some people they just want to sign up and start selling, right? I would go the franchise route in that. So the flip side of all of that is you're going to get the most help when you start, right? You don't have to make those decisions, right? You can start writing business pretty fast, okay? A lot of these franchises, like traditional franchises, have large franchise fees, and they have large rev shares, right? That you have to give back to the mothership. If you give back to the mothership when you start, right? So that's going to be the franchise route, okay? Most restrictive, but also the most help, okay? The middle ground are the traditional clusters and aggregators, okay? Typically, your traditional clusters and aggregators, right, aren't that restrictive. They allow you to run your agency kind of how you want to run your agency. They don't require themselves to be on the branding in a lot of cases, right? But where they typically, what you need to be mindful of with the clusters and aggregators is sometimes when you start that agency, you have to use a predetermined technology, okay? A lot of times the aggregators tell you, hey, you have to be on this management system. There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to be aware of that. You're not necessarily making a decision on the AMS and some of the tech that you're using, right? They have to do it that way for it to work on the back end for them, to make it easier to service you. So that's something to be mindful of there, right? The other thing that you have to look out for with some of the clusters and aggregators are the exit clauses. Okay, I've talked about this in previous videos, previous podcasts and content, but a lot of these aggregators lock you down when you either go to sell the agency or move the business outside of the aggregator, okay? I'll give you a couple examples. I've been actively trying to acquire insurance agencies the last few years. I've had 3 deals that I can think of off the top of my head that blew up because the seller who was trying to sell to me either could not sell to me or there was some kind of crazy exit clause because of the cluster group they were in or the aggregator they were in, okay? One, for example, this particular aggregator, I made these people an offer. They sort of accepted it verbally, and I said, we have one thing we have to work out. They're like, what's that? I'm going to move all of this business outside of your aggregator. I don't have an aggregator. I haven't had to have an aggregator. I don't want an aggregator. I'm not signing up with them. So who do I need to talk to at this company to move it outside? They gave me this guy's name. I called him. He was very nice, but in the process of us talking, he said, we have first right of refusal, but if nobody else wants to buy it, it can go to you. I knew that part, okay? First right of refusal basically means they have the option to buy it first. Most of your aggregators are gonna have that agreement. He said, at that point, you can buy the agency. However, and these are his exact words, However, you're basically buying leads because we have a non-compete with the carriers. So when you buy this business and it rolls out of our aggregator or out of our code, we will tell the carrier to non-renew all of the business in this book. So you're basically buying leads. And I was like, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with that, right? So this was a big agency. These folks couldn't sell it. Like, it hurt the value of the agency when they went to exit, right? So you need to pay attention to the exit clauses with these cluster agreements, right? Here's a little tip. People like to demonize some of the aggregators that have exit fees or exit penalties. Those are actually good because it gives you a way out. It gives you a roadmap to get out of that agreement, rather than like the one that I dealt with where there was no roadmap out, there was no exit clause. It was just locked down, right? Legally, there wasn't a way out. So we weren't able to get it out, right? Now, yeah, I could have signed up with them and slowly moved the business out, but I didn't want to pay millions and millions of dollars for something and then be wrapped up in a legal battle because I did something wrong, right? So I just wanted to avoid it completely, okay? And then, so those are your clusters and aggregators. Gives you a little bit more freedom with a little bit of help, but not a ton. You're still having to make a lot of decisions, and there are some that are made for you. And then last are the market access companies, okay? Market access style companies, okay? Company I'm a big fan of in this space is the Agency Collective, and then another one is India. I'm big fans of both of those companies. Both of those companies have very, very, very small entry fees, if not any, and then no exit fees. You can move the business outside if you want to in most cases as of this taping. But a market access company is going to be the most freedom, the most like a direct appointment, but you're not going to get a ton of hand holding, right? You're going to get a little bit of hand holding. They're going to be there if you need them, but you still have to make a lot of decisions on your own. You still have to talk to a lot of carrier reps on your own, which is a good thing because you can build a relationship with them. So it's not really done for you. It's just like, hey, we're this group, we're vouching for you. And yeah, in a lot of cases, you're getting higher commissions than you would get if you went direct, but there's not a ton of hand holding, but you get the most freedom. So that's kind of the scale. Most restrictive, least restrictive, most help, least help. That's how that works. That's my synopsis of how you should pick your insurance agency aggregator or cluster or market access if you're starting an agency. If anybody needs any help from me, if you have any questions, please reach out. Really appreciate it. Thanks.